Ever since I started watching Formula 1 in the early 2000s, Kimi Raikkonen has just about always been a prominent figure in the sport, and it's going to feel really strange not seeing him on the grid next season. I, like many, am a huge fan of the Finn, and I'm going to miss him, so I felt a certain duty to explain why I think Kimi Raikkonen will go down forever as a legend. Focusing upon his on-track pursuits first, and Kimi Raikkonen made his Formula 1 debut for Sauber all the way back in 2001, immediately scoring a point on his debut race where many realised that this driver from Finland was going to be very special. He didn't need much time to develop, as he would go on to finish in the top 10 in the standings and impress so much that he would get a drive for front-running McLaren. Although 2002 was to be a character-building experience, in 2003 he, along with Montoya, became the first drivers to genuinely challenge the Schumacher dominance since Mika Hakkinen. After claiming his first ever win and 10 podiums overall, he only fell short by a couple of points, but to be that close for a championship in your third season is remarkable. I now want to talk about the 2007 season, where as a die-hard Ferrari fan, remember this season very well. Of course, this was the year where Raikkonen moved to the prancing horse, and even though I was still gutted about Schumacher leaving at the end of the previous year, I knew we signed a top-tier driver. He immediately showed everyone that he was a force to be reckoned with, becoming the first Ferrari driver since Nigel Mansell to win their first race with Ferrari. As the season went on, he was in a great championship battle, with both McLaren drivers and current champion Fernando Alonso and rookie sensation Lewis Hamilton. With Raikkonen 18 points behind with just 4 races to go, he never gave up and kept pushing that Ferrari to its absolute limit. He would win 3 of the final 4 races, which included a dominating display at the concluding race at Brazil, and would win the championship by a point. To this day, he remains the last driver to win a championship with Ferrari and is on an exclusive list of names to win a championship with Ferrari like Schumacher, Ascari, and Lauda. Third in 2008 and an unmemorable 2009 where his best highlight was either that win at Spa or having an ice cream during a red flag at the Malaysian Grand Prix, pretty sick moment to be fair, saw Raikkonen want to move on to rallying and a bit of NASCAR for 2 years. He'd make his return to F1, signing with midfield runners Lotus in 2012. They were expected to be a midfield team, but with Raikkonen behind the wheel, they were able to keep up with the front runners. This for me was one of his best seasons, as he managed to finish on the podium 7 times, including 3 podiums in consecutive races at Germany, Hungary and Belgium. However, his finest moment of the year would come at Abu Dhabi, as Raikkonen ran on to win here. Finishing 3rd in the standings in what was supposed to be an upper midfield car was nothing short of sensational for the Flying Finn. Raikkonen was again brilliant for most of the 2013 season, particularly at the first half of the year, as he accumulated 4 top 2 finishes out of 5 to begin the season, one of which for a win at the opening race at Albert Park. He was a title contender too, where after the Spanish Grand Prix was only 4 points behind Sebastian Vettel, who of course was at his peak here. While Kimi did eventually fall away from the championship hunt, he still put 4 more podium finishes together as he cemented 5th overall, and probably would have been higher too, if not for pulling out of the season due to back surgery early. The fact that his back problems arose at the Singapore Grand Prix and still attaining a podium here is honestly elite. A return to Ferrari for Raikkonen in 2014, and while admittedly it wasn't a good season by his standards, in 2015 and beyond he still looked pretty capable, putting in some good performances and showed longevity, scoring a few podiums in 2015 and improving his points tally every single year until 2018, where he finished 3rd with 251 points, and for a 39-year-old that is a pretty damn great effort. Most in modern day racing don't even make it to 39, but finishing in the top 3 for that year surely adds to his legendary legacy. A feel-good moment from that 2018 season as well was the win Raikkonen secured at Austin, which was his first win in over 5 years, his first win at Ferrari for 9 years, and he was the oldest race winner since Nigel Mansell in 1994. I'll be honest though, I wasn't too sad when he was replaced by Charles Leclerc for 2019, as the Finn was well into his twilight years, but having served 8 seasons as a driver at Ferrari, and I have nothing but admiration for the Iceman. He, for me, has become one of Ferrari's biggest names of all time. And although he was in an inferior Alfa Romeo for the 2019 season, he still showed some terrific consistency, scoring points in 8 events in the first half of the year. And although car performance went away from him in the back end of the year for the most part, a sensational drive in Brazil secured Raikkonen P4, which in my opinion was one of his finest races ever, as he went on to beat those in better machinery in the standings, like Nico Hülkenberg and Daniil Kvyat. And to this present day, the fact Kimi is still in his early 40s and still doing well shows that even though he mainly sees car racing as a hobby, he is still a fit lad and has conditioned himself to be able to stay competitive. As a result of his longevity, he's been able to break many records, such as making the most F1 appearances of anybody and having covered the most combined distance ever in Formula 1 competition. Not only was he a legend on the track, but he was definitely a legend off the track too. Right off the bat, I believe Kimi Raikkonen might be the most reliable guy to ever be in F1. He's a superstar driver that really behaves just like any of us. Did you know in that debut race in Australia, he was allegedly asleep just 30 minutes before the race starts? I mean, how many times have any of us done this just before having to go to work or even going to an important meeting? Also, maybe I'm being a little bit specific here, but have you ever missed something just because you had to go for a gigantic poop? Well, Kimi Raikkonen, even though he was signed on professionally as McLaren driver at the time, it didn't stop him from taking a crap during a pre-race presentation. If you think I'm lying, have a look at this.
Kimi, you missed the presentation by Pele.
Yeah.
Will you get over it?
Yeah, I was having a shit.
And continuing on, and Kimi is just so likable as he really is a no bullshit type of guy with an authentic personality. A true carefree guy. When he retired from the 2006 Monaco Grand Prix, he just couldn't be bothered going back to the team garage. So you know what he did instead? He went to his yacht and chilled for the rest of the day. I mean, after having a bad day on the track, why would you want to report back to the team garage? Especially when you have a yacht. Another memorable moment, and perhaps everyone's favourite form of Kimi, was Drunk Kimi at the 2018 FIA Gala. And I guess you could say, he finally got the drink. I don't think anyone was expecting this from Kimi whatsoever, which honestly makes this night even better, and probably perfect to be honest. The meme community will be using this for decades to come. Speaking of personality, and I guess this is technically an on-track thing rather than an off-track thing, but listening to team radios without Kimi would just not be the same anymore. For me, my favourite radio memory isn't actually any of the famous communications like the "Leave Me Alone, I Know What I'm Doing," or the gloves and steering wheel fiasco, but rather I remember the 2012 Australian Grand Prix where Kimi was complaining about what he thought was showing him the blue flags, but his race engineer had to explain to him that they were actually for the drivers behind him. Another of his antics that we all loved was the way that he'd respond to questions from journalists. He just had a knack for answering basic or even complicated questions with one-word answers or answers that would make the entire audience laugh. He's a natural when it comes to keeping cool and composed in front of the cameras while pulling off these humorous moments. Wow, I guess they do call him the Iceman for a reason. There have just been so many all-time moments off the track for Kimi. Most of the time he's not even trying to be funny, but it is exactly this that makes some of his hilarious moments even funnier than usual. While Kimi is unlikely to be in the F1 GOAT debate, he definitely is in the discussion for the best piss taker F1 has ever seen, along with the likes of James Hunt, Gerhard Berger, and even Nelson Piquet, at least when he wasn't being a full-on prick. If you do get the chance to search on YouTube for Kimi Raikkonen's funniest moments, then I recommend you do so, as I reckon that could seriously keep you entertained for hours and hours. In conclusion, we have all been very lucky that we've been able to get a character like Kimi Raikkonen in Formula 1, and I honestly think we'll never see a character like him again, which honestly really saddens me to be truthful. He has managed to carve out an illustrious career, winning a world championship and becoming a household name, not just because of his glaring talents on the track, but also because of his memorable personality, which has proven to be highly popular amongst many. He may not be on the grid in 2022, but at least we can always look back to the man that was Kimi Raikkonen and his amazing years in the sport. Let me know what your favourite Kimi Raikkonen memory is on or off track. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more content.